Ha! Evil creature of the night, killer of mouse and other vermins. I got you! Ha ha! You can't flee away from me! You can't!
Welcome to a new video of Sloeber, and this is about version 4.4, which has way better version control. I have here a Sloeber EDA, a new one, 4.4, and I started it and had it configured to speed up things, but basically there's nothing, I haven't done anything with this. This is just basic Sloeber with an empty workspace. And while Sloeber is starting up, as this is about version control, I would like to introduce you to RobTillaart. He's from Netherlands, which is close to me, and he has a repository which contains libraries and sketches. These are plain Arduino sketches, nothing to do with Sloeber, but they're in Github, so there is interest here because 4.4 is in version control improvements. So we're going to import one of these sketches of his. We're gonna fork it, we're gonna import it, we're gonna make it a Sloeber project, kind of like, and then we're going to go to a Linux machine because we're currently on a Windows machine, and on the Linux machine we're going to import. I already forked the repository, yeah, and as you can see I did not change. As you can see here, the branches even with RobTillaart, so I did not modify anything. Yeah, so we copy the link. Now we're going to Sloeber, we do file, import, and we say we want to do a git, projects from git, and we have a URI. So this information is stored, so but you have to use the password from GitHub, so that's pretty common. These are all the defaults, and now he's actually cloning the repository and copying everything locally. Now this is a small problem with egit actually, that after he forked or cloned the repository, he does not show you the subfolders, but there's an easy workaround. You just go back and forward, and there you've got them. So here we see the sketches, and let's take the 7, 8, and we have to import it as a general project because basically there is no this is not a Sloeber project, this is not a Eclipse project, this is just code. So we go next and we go finish. Yeah. So now we have the project here, but there's basically nothing we can do with it. Now we go new, other, and you now have the new option, convert to Sloeber project. If you select that, you now have a Sloeber project. He still can't build it because I don't have any defaults yet. Need to scroll down, properties. So we have to say, let's say this is an Uno, whatever, mini. Okay, so close. And now we can compile this. While he's compiling, I'll open the Git staging because this is about version control. The staging tells you which files have changed and stuff like that. So you see here a whole lot of files that have been added by Eclipse, Sloeber, whatever, any plugin, and actually most of them are not interesting to you, and you don't want to check them in. So we'll add .star because I think hidden files should not be checked in. I think that's a bad approach. And I add spec.c and I save it, and now nothing has changed. Yeah. However, you want to check in that your board is a Arduino Mini, and you actually want to check this one in, yeah, which currently is not happening. Now, let's do something else first to make it very clear what we're doing here. What I'm doing here is I'm actually introducing an error if defined test is not created. The reason why I'm doing this is because one of the things we want to do with this version control is that you can also save your project build defines. Yeah. If we try to compile now, you will see we get an error because test is not defined. So we'll define test in the Arduino project properties. We'll say that for C++, we do -d test, apply and close. We build, you can see now that after the indexer is done, that he's no longer annoyed about this. The error is still there because the build has not been successful yet. So now we build again. Everything's fine. The problem is, at this point of view, we have the file change, but we do not have yet the compile options changed. Yeah, and the compile options are not yet in version control. But here in other options, you have share in version control. I'm here on a Dutch version, so it's share on version control in other options. If you turn that one on, you'll see there's now another file here, sloeber.cfg. And sloeber.cfg actually tells you the build, all the information, the configuration information. And here you see that we have our -d as compile options. And here you see that we chose the Mini from RVR 183 and an ATmega 328. So basically, this is all the information we want to see. We're also going to stop him from opening this in external viewer. So now we have that. If we now check this in, I don't know why, but eGit no longer refreshes. Don't know why it does that. It probably will be fixed in later versions. So that's it. And we push this to GitHub. So now on GitHub, the branch will no longer be if we refresh, the branch is no longer even with RobTillaart. commit ahead. Let's go to a Unix machine and we start Sloeber on Ubuntu. The same 4.4 version, of course. To GitHub in the meantime to copy the URL. Okay, now back to Sloeber. It's not yet done with the configuration. We can do the same thing now. We're going to import again from Git, again URI, same thing like we did on Windows, exact same thing as we did on Windows, again cloning. Again, we need to go back and forward, select the sketch and import this as a general project. Finish. Again, we need to convert this to a Sloeber project. And as you can see here in the Arduino properties, you see it's a mini with the processor and the compile option -d test is there. So that's guarantees that the code will compile even though the code is dependent on a define which is not in the code. So the build's fine, no problems. Now let's make this a bit more complicated and let's add another board. So take the ESP to the latest ESP. Let's install this one. Now, let's go back to the project properties, create a new release, create a new configuration. Just give it a name. Let's go to start release and make it an ESP board. Anyone? I don't know these things, so the only thing I know that you should not pick here the one of code, but it's no longer there. So flash size. This is particularly different because I use a very small resolution, so you guys can follow easier on the recordings. So now we have added this configuration, and if we go to the Git staging view, which we have not activated yet here, you will see that he tells you at first do git ignore. No, this the default he opens to compare. If you turn this one off, he just opens the version. So we take the git ignore, we add all dot stars, and we add spec.d, and we go back to git staging, and now you see that he has added Sloeber CFG, and we compare back on. Oh, spec.c is not yet gone. So you see that he actually added the ESP release to the config. Yeah. Spec dot. Oh, spec dot. It's with a C, man. Okay. So, so now the get staging only has one change, and that's the sloeber.cfg. Now, go. We haven't tested the build yet, so let's first set it to active and build it. And here we can see console. Remember that the test define is still there because we copied from the release, and the release contained the test define, and also it's in version control because we copied from the release, and also release was version controlled true and compiled true. So here also the compile is minus d test and version control is true. Yeah. Okay. So build is done. Everything's fine. So we're happy. So we're going to say that we are happy. And again, here in Linux, the refresh doesn't work anymore. Just added ESP configuration, and we commit and push. So we're back to Windows, and we update our repository by pulling in all the changes. And as you see, it didn't really work. It didn't really work because he says Sloeber.cfg is something wrong with. And as you can see, all the board menu items here are gone. And the reason for that is I do not have the correct platform installed. So we install the correct platform. And now we say that this one should be replaced by head. So actually trying again. And this time it'll work. Yeah. And we do build configuration set active ESP release. So we created the configuration, and we can build the configuration. it's easier to integrate. It's way easier because you have the you have to convert to Sloeber project, and with the sloeber.cfg file you can have your build settings and your platform you use for your project into the version control, and if that file is there, these settings are the ones that will be used when you convert to Sloeber project. So that's how it works. And now you can skip copy version control things. There's one thing that does not work, and that's when you remove a remove a configuration from version control. That will not work because how it's implemented. That's an issue. More information on Github if that's bothering you. Thank you. Bye bye.